Welcome to a new episode of the show. Sarah Stockdale is our awesome guest today. Sarah is currently the founder of Growclass, an award-winning growth marketing certification and community of founders and marketers. She's also the author of the popular millennial newsletter, We Need to Talk About This. I have known Sarah for over 10 years and absolutely loved our conversation. We focused on growth in both business and in family life. And Sarah is a friend-tor to me. This is a word I believe she invented, a friend-tor, a mentor. She is one of the first women that I saw in tech who was truly designing her life, taking vacations, seeming to enjoy her life and saying what she wants to say. And then also when she had a baby, she was transparent about it, but also made it seem like so much fun. If you're watching this episode on YouTube or on Spotify, there is indeed a baby cameo right around the time we start talking about family. So I truly hope you enjoy this conversation with Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Gwen.
Sarah, I am so excited to dive into growth in business and in life, but I love to start the show by asking, what is going awesome in your world these days?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Growclass, which is my business, is currently going awesome. I have a wonderful team. And just a really great group of people. We're like kind of winding down the year, which always feels nice because we're just proud of what we were able to do. I've got an 18-month-old son, Wesley, and 18 months is such a fun age. He's like a little ray of delightful sunshine. Only has, a handful of tantrums a day, which is a win. And that's awesome. I'm in Leslieville with my wonderful husband and my son, and it's my favorite spot in Toronto. Business is going well and motherhood is going, the roller coaster of motherhood, but it's wonderful. So there's a lot that's going awesome right now.
Oh, that is so nice to hear. That's just so nice to hear. And we are definitely going to talk about motherhood because you are somebody that really opened my eyes. And I'm sure a lot of people look at you and they're like, Sarah has a child and a thriving business and a family. And so I'm so excited to dive into that because we could potentially inspire some people to make the leap into parenthood today.
Or caution them appropriately.
Yes. You know what? That's a great point. We'll try and be as transparent as we can. But when I was thinking about you, I'm like, what can I start asking to start our conversation? And when I think of you, I think of growth. And I'm curious about in your business or your life, when do you know when it's time to be persistent and keep growing a thing or an area of your life? Or when do you know it's time to let it go and focus on something else?
Oh, it's such a good question. And to be honest, I'm not great at this. Because I think folks who've been brought up to be people pleasers tend to hold on to things too long. So it's something that I'm consistently working on. But I think there's a difference between good and bad tension in a business or in a relationship, or in a situation in your life. Good tension feels challenging. Bad tension feels exhausting. Sometimes challenge is tiring, so it's hard to differentiate between those things. But I think if you don't know how to get to the next step, and there's a bit of excitement and you can see yourself on the other side, you can visualize a universe in which you've solved this problem and you're excited about that potential solution, versus where even if you were able to solve this problem and see yourself on the other side, that's not a life you want to live. Like, that's not a situation that you want to be in. And that, to me, if there's ever a point in time where I'm like, even if this goes incredibly well, it's not the life I want, then it's time to make a different choice.
That is so good. That is so good. Good tension, bad tension, visualizing the life on the other side. That is so good. That is so good.
I gotta get better at it, but yeah.
Oh, that is so good. Well, I want to talk to you about business stuff first, because I feel like I've kind of been you're the planet and I'm like a moon that's kind of seen the outside of a lot of your
You helped
career.
build the planet. You helped build the planet. So I don't know what kind of moon that is, but it's sweet.
It's pretty amazing, just even from, back in our university days to working in the tech world, like when you were working at Tilt that got acquired by Airbnb. I was in San Francisco at the same time working at a different tech company and then creating Growclass. So let's start with Growclass, the absolute delightful network universe that you've built. How do you describe what Growclass is today?
So Growclass is, I think it's kind of two things. The education side, it's where you come to learn how to build a 6-figure career in marketing or build a 7-figure business. We really focus on helping folks figure out how to find their first 1,000 customers. So we sit at the intersection of like a seed series, series A kind of stage of a company. And then the other side is the community, which people normally come to a program like this for education. Like there are hard skills that they need to learn to progress their careers, and they've chosen Growclass for whatever hopefully wonderful reason that they have ended up here. And the sticky thing, the delightful thing that we are consistently working really hard on is the experience of this community, and what that community enables for people. So I literally had someone DM me the other day that was like, they started Growclass about a year ago, and they were like, my salary has increased 109% since joining. And that's a direct result, not only of the education, but of the network that was able to find her next role. I actually introduced her to her next boss. So it's just that the combination of those two things have to come together to make someone successful. And so we focus a lot on the quality of the education, but also the quality of the people in the community.
I really need to acknowledge you for your commitment to that quality and to continually getting better and better, because as I've seen a lot of different people make their courses, and I've worked with some people that have started with massive audiences of millions of people in their network and have not had the success, even a fraction of what you have done. And so it's absolutely astounding to me what you have created, and with the integrity and commitment and just love and caring and support. I haven't seen anything like it. But I've seen a lot of courses inside and out. So
coming from you, that means a lot.
And it's also so fascinating. You mentioned, first of all, I also need to thank you. You always mention when you're being interviewed about Growclass, you mentioned me, and I'm like, what? She's still saying it years later.
Of course. You taught us how to make things that educate people. Like, we were tech startup folks, and you were like, this is how you build education. And I think that folks who don't have a Gwen don't end up building the right thing. And so I think the fact that we had a Gwen as early as we did in our journey meant that we built something that was evergreen and that could actually give learning outcomes to adults the way in which you were able to help us structure it. So not everyone can build a course, and no one should build a course without a Gwen. That's a fundamental foundational piece of our success.
I will say thank you, as we are all learning to accept the compliments.
Take the flowers, put them in some water.
Yes.
Look at them when you need to.
You know, it's so cool though, also because Growclass went from the 6-week premium flagship course to Growclass Gather, the network, the writing circle. And I found it so fascinating to be a part of helping to create it, to them becoming a paying customer and saying, wait, I need to be in. It's like, that was a trip. That's cool.
It was very cool. Literally, I was telling Hannah, who manages our community and heads up a lot of the growth and marketing at Growclass. I was telling her we were having this conversation today, and she was like, tell Gwen she needs to finish her mat leave because we miss her. So you are also very missed and loved in the community.
Wow. What a place. Hi, Hannah. So I'd love to hear, for people that want to get into creating courses and creating a course-based business, because you went from having a consultancy to actually saying, hey, I want to create a course-based business. Can you share with people your thinking about changing your business model, changing your focus? How did you get to that place of saying, I want to go all in on a course?
Yeah. So Growclass started out as an experiment. As you know, we did it in person for 3 cohorts off the side of our desks of the agency. We still had a full client roster um, and a very busy life on the agency side, but we looked forward to the times that we got to teach and the times that we got to bring the community together. Um, and that was the best part of our work. It wasn't the most lucrative part of our work. The agency was definitely the most lucrative part of our work. But the beginning of the course, we could see a world where we got to build something that we really cared about. There was a gap in the market that we knew we could serve. And when you are consulting, anyone who's consulted before, you know that you don't have control over the product and you don't have control over how your strategic input is used. And so we would put our heart and soul into trying to help the businesses that were our clients, and we would not have control over the execution. And so we desperately wanted control over the experience of a company and the experience of a product, and to be able to actually execute our vision. And so when we started building Growclass, we were like, we get to control the experience of the community. We get to offer refunds whenever we want. We get to offer scholarships whenever we want. Like, we don't have a board. We can make these decisions ourselves based on our values and based on the kind of business we want to build. That is so much cooler than telling a rich person what you think they should do and then watching them not do it. So
I love that so much. So there, I'm sure are people listening right now who are running a consultancy who are thinking, oh my God, I need to do that. And I've seen people try to do that too. Very smart and talented people who have not been able to switch to what you've been able to create. What would you say are some of the things that you did right when you were switching to a course-based business that you think would be helpful for other people to experiment with?
I think we got really lucky because we experimented with Growclass before we needed it to be our main source of income. So we were able to do things like we took everyone from our first cohort out for a beautiful dinner. We like really focused on the experience. And then when we built it online with you, we infused those community elements into the online experience. So I think when people, a lot of the time when people are like, I need to build a course, they think about the material and not about the experience of the students and not about what the students might need when they come in, and how can you be delightful at every part of that experience. If you look at it as a transactional means to an end, as like, I'm going to build a course, I'm going to put 1,000 people through it, I'm going to make $1 million, yay for me. Good luck finding 1,000 people to put through that course, because the best way to grow is to provide an experience people talk about. And it gets really, really hard to grow a thing if you don't provide an experience that people talk about. And if you are looking at your customers as transactional relationships and not as members of your community. And that requires a lot of work. So that requires a lot of like community management and doing things for free and listening intently to feedback and taking it in. I got feedback the other day from a new challenge that we're working on, and your immediate reaction to feedback is always like, no, I'm great, I'm perfect. But like, you have to stay porous. Like, you have to stay open to that feedback so that you can create a better experience next time and make sure that the folks who are part of your experiences have the best one they possibly can. So yeah, I think a lot of these things fail because people don't care about people. They just want to make money.
Right. And something that I think is so interesting about how you've been able to succeed is there are some very clear 800-pound gorillas, or, David and Goliath. I was looking up some of your quote competitors and noticing how they've raised like $80 million for their growth marketing education.
That's
and
funny.
From what I understand, you have not raised $80 million intentionally. Can you share a little bit about the success that you've created and also how you think about competition?
Yeah. There was a period of time in 2021 when all of the people who I was like keeping an eye on as competitors, or like alternatives. People could choose them or us. They all raised between 21 and $100 million, every single one of those companies in 2021. And we were approached by investors because education was hot and we had a product. But if your focus is on community and your focus is on experience, the last thing you need are people breathing down your neck telling you to scale that as quickly as possible and to create transactional experiences for folks as quickly as possible. And so we didn't do it. And now with the economy the way it is, I'm so glad that we made that decision, because 10xing a valuation like that is really, really challenging in the best economic times. And right now it's going to be nearly impossible. So we decided to keep it small and focus on experience. I don't, unlike I think maybe a lot of startup founders, like I don't need world domination. And like, I don't need world domination money. Like I want to make a good thing that helps people and that they value and that provides a good life for myself and my team. And so that was always our focus. You can learn so much from your competition. And they spend a lot of money bidding against our keywords, which is very flattering because we are a tiny little team. And a bootstrapped business. And we're just gonna continue doing things our way, and learning as much as we can from the folks who have way more money than we do.
You have such a groundedness, such a clarity, such a, like, the ego seems to be out to lunch. Like, you're just like, I want to create something good in the world. Are you like, do you consider yourself a very intuitive person? Do you have like, are you into spirituality? Are you into data? Like, how did you come to this clarity?
I wouldn't call it clarity. It's, I think there's a couple of things. So my early career was always working for venture funded startups, starting at a very low paid, low marketing manager level up to being on the executive team. And I didn't want that lifestyle as a founder. So it is all in, it is all your time, it is all your energy. And you basically have parents, you have business parents who can tell you what to do or fire you. And when I started my company, I wanted to build something profitable and sustainable where I wouldn't have to have business parents, and where I could design a lifestyle that I actually enjoy. So I don't have to hustle and grind it out all the time, because I did that for 12 years and I burnt out horribly. So I want to be able to, go to yoga in the day if I want to. Like I want to just design that life for myself. I still work a lot. Business owners work a lot. You know this. And I like what I do, so I end up working a lot. But it was more about like the conscious lifestyle design choice and not needing world domination. I think when you grow up in tech, there's this like world domination vibe, and you can have a profitable, sustainable business without trying to break democracy or like move fast and break the world.
That is so true. And it's like, if you're not creating $1 billion company, what are you even doing? Like, what?
No one needs $1 billion. It's a terrifying amount of money. No one person should drag and hoard that many resources. That gives me anxiety.
That's a lot of cash. And I have to be honest, I've seen people in the course world create $100 million course-based businesses. And that has been something it's like, wow, that's possible. And I definitely did get caught up in figuring out how people did that. And it's so refreshing to hear you say, I don't need world domination. I want to consciously create my lifestyle. You're somebody I always look to as you're like my vacation inspiration. It's like, oh, she's just going on a trip, just a trip over here. And then I emailed you the other day and your email autoresponder was so clever and cute. It was, what did it say? It was like, I'm at the cottage, delight. Oh, what did it say? It was so good. I almost want to like post it or something.
Your email does find me well.
Yes. I think we need to discuss your writing for a second, because that is a super secret, not secret, but it's like your secret sauce. That's not a secret. Can you share with people, how did you become such a brilliant writer?
Oh, that's the very kind question, because I feel like I'm a consistent work in progress. Writing as much as humanly possible. I've forced myself to write a newsletter every week. I published it on Wednesday mornings at like 5 in the morning for years. I didn't miss an episode. Like I once wrote it with a kidney infection.
Mm.
Again, the
Mm.
hustle culture was deep in there that I had to slowly root out. But that consistency and that practice and that immediate feedback from subscribers um, honed the skill set over time. And then the other thing that like really, really good writers are like really ferocious readers, and finding people whose voices you love. So when I was writing my my newsletter, which is called We Need to Talk About This, it's like political and feminist. And so I would focus on voices of people who I thought did that really well. So I would like listen to Trevor Noah and listen intently to Stephen Colbert and to Michelle Wolf and listen to old George Carlin. So comedians are phenomenal writers. So the more you can learn from them, the better. And I would like devour books written by comedians, um, just to learn pacing and tone and how to write a punchline. Um, I think if you can learn funny writing, you can write anything. So that was always my goal. So it the two parts are like consistency and research and focus and taking inspiration wherever you can possibly find it.
So good. And of course, Sarah has a course called the Writing Circle where you can learn way more tips and tricks. But Sarah, we need to talk about this. I'll also add a link so everyone can read it. It's so true. When you read Sarah's writing, it's so thoughtful, thought-provoking, then all of a sudden there's like a joke and I'm like, what? And you took stand-up comedy classes, right? Tell
Yeah,
me
I
about
did.
that experience.
Yeah, I took stand up at Second City because I do some keynote speaking and I wanted to be funny. And I wasn't naturally funny. Like I couldn't write it myself naturally. So I was like, okay, like go find the funny people and learn from them. And I bombed every week consistently the entire 4 months. Like I got up in front, I had to go first every time. Like
Oof.
they decided that it was going to be assigned seats. So like I sat too close to the instructor because I was late the first class, and then I had to go first every single time for the rest of the semester. And I bombed, like played to silence every single time. And then had to do a showcase where like my friends and family came and like heard me do stand up. So I worked so hard on that because I didn't want specifically my friend Mary to have to fake laugh because I'd be able to hear it. So I worked really, really hard, and I think I got a couple of real laughs. But what I learned from that is like a part of my writing, part of my speaking. Like it was so scary and transformational in a good way.
To do a callback, I feel like that would be good tension.
Learning that not, and the thing is too, like if you do stand up as a people pleaser, um you are going to play to silence. You are not going to please people because you're not funny and you don't know how to be funny, and you kind of erode those fucks. You give less fucks every time, which is helpful.
So you mentioned people pleaser. I got to bring it up because what's so fascinating about you is if people didn't know you and maybe they saw some feeds or what you're talking about, they're probably like, Sarah is so fierce, and you are fierce, but like Sarah, like so confident and so say whatever you want and like hardened shell or something. And like knowing you, you're like literally the most kind, soft, gentle soul. Like you're so both. It's so fascinating to me because you will speak up about feminist issues, political issues, anything that you feel like we need to talk about this. So can you share with me how you unraveled the need, like the people pleasing, was able to just share what's on your heart when you wanted to do that?
I'm still struggling with it. As much as people think that I'm confident or fierce, that's a nice thing to say. I don't think either of those things are true. But I am working on it. I give less fucks too because I'm older. I'm in my mid-30s, and I think they just the fucks fall away over time. But when I specifically when it comes to like political issues, or when I speak about feminism, or, I'm grouchy about what's going on in the world. Those things align very closely to my belief system. And the kind of person who does I do my research. I read, I listen, I take in feedback. Um, I want, I want as much information as possible, and I'm willing to change my mind if I'm wrong. But by the time I get to the point of sharing it, I feel very confident that what I'm talking about aligns very closely with my values. And I'm okay if that turns off the kind of person that probably wouldn't enjoy my content or my course anyway. Growclass is very vocally focused on women and marginalized people. And it's built by a bunch of progressives with big old hearts. So if that's not your vibe, then that's totally fine. And we can find the people who love us and instead of trying to be liked by everyone. If everyone likes you, no one's going to go to bat for you. No one's going to evangelize you. But if smaller group of people absolutely love you, those true fans, then you can do anything.
Yes. And that also speaks to the work you do in Growclass about finding your ideal customers, and you know who they are. It's very clear. You will either love Sarah's world, or you'll say, hey, see you later.
Not for me. And that's totally and I love that. I love when people are like, I'm gonna self-select out of this this crew, because the crew has a foundation of values, and I want values aligned folks part of it.
Yes. I want to shift to a little bit of family life in a second, but just to ask you one more question about business. If you were to go back to when you started Growclass officially, whether it's in person or online, like what advice would you give to yourself then that you wish you had when you were first starting out in that world?
Oh, I think the main thing would be listen to your gut, because there were periods of time, and I think you and I read a lot of things that other people write about business, and hire coaches and have a lot of kind of help and support. And there's a period of time, early days in the business, where things were going really well. We were incredibly profitable. We were making a lot of money. And I started to take in too many other opinions on you should hire, you should grow faster, you should be more hardcore with content development and with getting in front of as many people as possible. And so against kind of my gut reaction, against what I thought might be the right thing to do, I tried to play bigger, and spend money in the wrong ways, blew a bunch of money on payroll in the wrong ways, and just made decisions trying to be the kind of business owner that I'm not and that I don't want to be, because I wanted to impress those people. And I think if I could have just listened to my gut, I could have prepared myself and my team better. So yeah, take in all of the information, take in all of the advice. Don't act on it immediately, and don't act on it if it doesn't feel aligned to the kind of thing that you want to build.
That is such good advice. And thank you for being so transparent about it, because it's so easy to be like, oh, this seems to be working for this person, or this seems to work for this. Let's do the same thing. Success leaves clues. I don't even know if I believe that anymore, because it's so interesting just trying to follow different ways people have done things, and it just never quite felt right. So I love that you share that. So what's so interesting? I was sharing with you before we hit play that my son Liam is sleeping in the other room, and I just said I wanted to talk about family stuff, and I just heard him start crying. So I think I got to pause for 1 second, and everyone, there will be a jump cut and there will be a baby when we talk about family life. Hold on, world. Sarah, grab a drink. Okay, we're back recording, and if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, we have a baby in the podcast. He just burped. Love that for him. Sarah is wanting to pinch his cheeks through the screen. Love this. So, and it's funny because it's people don't know this, but Sarah actually gave me the advice to go to check out Krav Maga martial arts school a few years ago. And I ended up going, and that's where I met my husband, Josh. So Sarah is kind of playing a hand in this baby existing. So thank you, Sarah.
Yes.
Liam, you exist because of Sarah.
That's weird. It's not true at all, but I'm so glad you went to that Krav class.
She's an influencer, people. Okay, so let's talk about family stuff, shall we? So, Sarah, something I want to talk to you about is choosing a life partner. You mentioned your phenomenal husband, Scott, off the top, and there's so many people that are seeking the love of their life. And the way you always spoke about Scott was so inspiring to me. And I was like, wow, I need to find a Scott. And I did, but I found a Josh. So what advice could you give for people to finding that life partner?
Oh man, I don't know if I can. I dated like it was an experiment when I was in my 20s. Like I just went on so many first dates. And and I think like this is cheesy, but there's a Mumford and Sons lyric that says, where you invest your love, you invest your life. And so if you're with someone and you don't know if it's a good investment, that's not your person. And we're both moms, so I think just knowing how good of a dad he would be, like just even dating him, like just seeing, I'm gonna cry, like just seeing the support that he had for me and for people in his life, and how like caring and kind he is. And like I'm not the adult in my relationship, like he is the adult, like he's booking the doctor's appointments, he's like researching the daycares, like he is the perfect balance to my frantic ADHD energy, and he's like the calm, organized one. I think that balance is so important. And I like when you're dating, date the person you're dating, not the potential that you think they could become. Because I think all the partners that I had before Scott, I was dating the potential. I was hoping that we could mold this person into the right thing. And when I was dating Scott, I was just dating Scott. I wasn't dating for a future where he would be different. I was dating the person that he is right now.
I shout out to Scott. Was it like love at first sight, or did it take a minute to be like, oh, I love this person?
Oh my gosh, our first date. So we met through we had a mutual best friend. We had never met each other, but we were both like very good friends with this guy named Christian Smaya. And we went to his birthday party and we were both there and we had so much fun. We like danced all night. And then he didn't ask me out on a date for months. So I started dating 2 other people by the time he had finally reached out. And our first date was a disaster. He had never been on a first date before. It was like 36 degrees. He was like sweating like crazy. It was just it was not a cute first date, because he was like, I had been dating a lot and he hadn't dated at all. And so I kind of like gave it a second shot. And this is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous 20-something thing to do. But I invited him to my housewarming party, where the other 2 guys I was dating also came to the housewarming party.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like, tell me who you're vibing with. And everybody unanimously was like, Scott is the best. Scott is the best. So I went on the second date with him.
I love that so much. Whew. Well, I love that so much. It's just like, because I want to talk about kids, but we got to talk about the partner that is there as well. Because we're both extremely lucky to have a great guy in our lives that can help us balance it all. So, but now I want to talk about little baby Wesley. Okay.
Well, I'm trying not to like eat through your son through the screen. Like, Liam, I'm going to eat you. You are so freaking cute.
He's just 6 months old, so he's little bit younger than Mr. West. Do you have nicknames for Wesley?
The Marmagoose and Fish.
See, that's something people don't know, but when you become a parent, you have the weirdest nicknames for we just came up with Mr. Gooby. Don't
Excellent.
ask. Just Mr.
Obsessed.
Gooby.
Perfect.
It's
Chef's
so
kiss.
bizarre.
Great name, Mr. Gooby. You're the best.
So tell me about how you thought about motherhood before you had a baby. What were your thoughts, your fears, and your excitements before having a baby?
I was scared of it for sure. I don't think I underestimated motherhood. I think a lot of people do. I think I knew it was going to be incredibly hard, and I was scared of it. I didn't know if I wanted to do it for a very, very long time. Even parts of my pregnancy was still like on the fence in a terrifying way. And people don't talk about that part, but I think a lot of us are like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then get pregnant, or like, did I make a huge mistake? The answer to that question for me, at least, is no. I would not trade it for the world, but I was very, very afraid of pregnancy, not even pregnancy, of motherhood, and specifically the physical and emotional labor that mothers do. And I think one of the only reasons that I did make the decision to have a baby is because of the support system that I have in place with my husband and my family. But yeah, I didn't underestimate it. And I nearly made a different decision, and I'm very glad that I took the path that I took. But very much respect the folks who choose to stay child free.
Yeah. What was like most surprising when he came into your life? Like, what was like the most enhancing part of it, and what has been like the most challenging aspect of when he arrived?
So I know this isn't the experience of all mothers, but I had the immediate, like, I'm obsessed with you. I'm so in love with you. I would like stand in front of a truck or fight a bear for you. And I know that doesn't always come immediately for people. I was very lucky that it came very quickly for me. And I don't think you expect it, like how obsessed you become with this little person and how much you would do for them. That like level and intensity of love was that was surprising. And the second piece is having a newborn or a young baby is so boring. It is so incredibly boring. They're amazing. They're so cute. Liam, you're so cute.
You're so cute, but you're boring sometimes.
So boring. No, I'm just like that I found, like, because before I had the life of an entrepreneur where I was meeting different people every day and going on podcasts and building new products. And I was, I had an adult life, but like a very rich creative adult life. And I went from having a rich creative adult life to a 90-minute nap schedule, very little sleep, reading The Pout Pout Fish 1,000 times.
Yes.
Pout Fish, sitting
Sarah
in a dark
gave
room.
me that book also. Sarah gifted me some beautiful gifts. I'm like, oh my God, Sarah. So thankful. Anyway, yes.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
But I found the monotony of early motherhood very challenging. And also, like, of course, sleep deprivation sucks. But I expected it to be hard, but I didn't expect it to be hard and boring at the same time, which is like a hard combination of things, to be both exhausted and challenged and at the same time a little bit bored.
I so appreciate you saying that, because you just never know what you're going to get until you're in it. And I found in those boring moments, I start scrolling so much, and it's just like, I know I need to be sleeping, but I just want to scroll and see pretty pictures and celebrity outfits. And I'm like, get off the internet. And it's like, it's like, I want to engage with people, but I don't want to reply. It's like just it's just, we all react differently. But I totally relate to you. It felt like in The Grinch, when the heart just expands, you're like,
yes.
Oh,
I didn't know it could be that big.
No. And I know you and I we have this similar experience in that. And some people have like the complete opposite experience. So I wish I could tell myself, don't like listen to anyone's advice. And actually, when I want to ask you this, it's what advice would you give yourself if you were to go back before pre-baby? Like, what could the Sarah today tell the pre-baby Sarah about this journey?
Ooh, I think two things, one to do with work, one to do with just life. The one to do with work is, when you are an ambitious entrepreneur or a type A person, you don't accept slowdowns well. And so I remember being in a conversation
Mm.
with a friend, Melissa Nightingale, and saying my business is going to grow while I'm on mat leave, and her laughing at me and being like, no, it will not. You have a very young company. A lot of it is driven by founder sales. That expectation of both yourself and your team is not reasonable. And I was like, I'll prove you wrong. And I did not prove her wrong. So I think I set myself up by expecting to maintain the level that we were growing at. Well, I was going to be on mat leave, while my body was going to be destroyed, while my brain was going to be fundamentally changed from both the experience of motherhood and pregnancy. And we were about to hit a recession. Like, all of those things happened at the same time. So I think like be gentler would be my first, like, be gentler, be more thoughtful and strategic, but be gentler. And the second thing was I underestimated the physicality of pregnancy. Like I underestimated pregnancy entirely. And in my third trimester, I lost my ability to walk. My pelvis separated, and it's common. Like it's common. It sucks, but it's common. And I think that I put a lot of emphasis on being able to be productive in my business and setting myself up in those last 3 months, not necessarily setting myself up for like, maybe this is going to be a physically challenging couple of months in your life, and maybe you should, focus on the making a person part. So I think, yeah, like gentleness in all ways, I think I needed more of.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? It's like, oh, I've still got a whole trimester. I can, take on a new project. I almost got on a plane and flew somewhere to film a course. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
I don't know if I can, like, the bathroom breaks required when you're so I'm like, I'll just
and the
disrupt the entire
swelling
shoot.
of flying when you're that pregnant. Oh, your ankles would be huge.
It just the fact that I was truly I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, then luckily it got moved to like the week that I was supposed to give birth, so I couldn't actually go. I was like, I would have went. So yeah, gotta give ourselves a little bit more grace and be a little bit more gentler. It's Sarah. Can you speak? Sarah, when do they speak? He can't
Is he saying
words.
That's fine. He's only 6 months old.
Yeah,
you've only been here for 6 months.
It's true.
Yeah.
So okay, I have a couple more rapid fire questions for you, and then we'll let you go. Wait, is there anything else about just family life, parenthood that I didn't ask you that is on your heart or your mind to share?
I don't think so. No, I think you did a great job.
Okay. I feel like it's just there's just so much to it. That could be a whole focused episode.
Yeah.
Okay, here are some fun rapid fire questions. Then you got to let everyone know how they can get into the Growclass universe. Should they, if they're a hell yes into your world, they'll know right away. They'll know right away. So here are my questions for you. What is an awesome vacation spot that you love?
Ooh. Naxos in Greece.
Ooh. It's
kind of a random island. It's not usually on the top lists. It has the best teas I've ever had. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And it's like got like a non-touristy Grecian slowness to it that is like, if you want to just like hang out with goats and go to the beach and like siesta because everything closes for half of the day, like go to Naxos.
Okay, great tip. What is an awesome self-care tip that you enjoy?
Go to bed early. Like not bubble baths, not whatever, like just go to bed early. And if you're an anxious person, move your body and don't think of it as something that you are doing to look a certain way. Think of it as therapy for your brain.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I remember seeing tweets a while ago about it's 8:00, 7:00. Can I go to bed now? Like I see you as a early to bed, early riser kind of vibe.
Well, my son is an early riser, so he chooses the early riserness, and I have to choose the early bedtime.
Yeah, I'm right there with you now. What is an awesome brand that you're loving today? What comes to mind of a brand that you're just like, I love that brand?
Oh, that's a good question. I just found this brand. It's actually a current Growclass student. They have a brand called Retro Kid, and they have like Mr. Dress Up t-shirts and like Sesame Street gear, but all for adults. And it is adorable and their emails are great. And I'm just like, I've just been a fan of their stuff.
So cool. We'll drop a link. What is an awesome food that you love? What's a joyful food, an awesome food that you're like, I love this?
My like, the one thing that I'm like confident making, and I made it for like friends this weekend who are chefs. And I'm usually terrified to cook in front of them, so I just order pizza. But I make Greek potatoes that are like lemony, garlicky, oily, roasted for a really long time, and that's like a Greek comfort food, and also something that I have made so many times that I feel confident making in front of people who are much better at cooking them.
Yeah. Oh, those are so good. Also, yeah, Sarah has like famous celebrity chef friends. And so yeah, it's I can imagine the pressure like, oh, I have this certain people coming over. Gotta
I'm like,
follow
they could
this
not
stuff.
be less judgmental and more kind. And I've sent them, I routinely make baked goods that turn out to look inappropriate. You can imagine that all you want, but they're the people that I message, and I'm like, this cheesecake looks like something it's not supposed to look like. Should I still bring it to the party? Yeah.
That's so good.
It's an unfortunate problem.
That is a hilarious problem. What is one awesome piece of advice that you have received?
I still remember I was really anxious about quitting my job back when I was working at a financial technology company. And my friend Drew said that no one like you, and this is also privilege, but like there were people in my life that they're like, no one's going to let you starve. Do the thing. Like if you're like, and that's privilege. Like that is privilege. But think of like the most monumental way that you could fail, you're still gonna be okay. Do it. Just try it.
That's good. That one just cuts right through it. And yeah, it's true. There are some people that don't have support, but yeah, you're very aware, and we have the life that we have. And it's like, well, if I have the privilege, I could use it in this moment to actually try and do something that will actually help uplift people if you do the thing. So
yeah. And like, imagine the worst way you could possibly fail. If it's still like, okay, then you should do the thing.
And I just want to ask you, what is the next dream you're calling into your life? What's something that you would love to see happen, unfold for you in the next like year or two?
I would like to write a book.
Yeah.
Yes. If I'm manifesting, I would like a publishing deal, please, universe.
It's already done. We all know it's already done. The work is that it's a joyful journey for you where you find the right publisher. I'm assuming you'd be going would you want to go traditional publishing route, or would you want to go self-publish?
I would have to have quite a big audience and be relatively famous for traditional publishers to be interested in me. If I can make that happen in a year, then I would love to go that route. If I can't, then I will do it myself.
Well, let's talk to the book gods that we are calling in the perfect experience for Sarah to have her book be out and read and adored by the masses. And it just makes her life more. We're not going for world domination, book gods. We're going for the right people reach it and just love it.
But book gods, if you want to put it on some big lists, that works.
Yeah. We we're dominating. Yes, absolutely. Sarah, and where can the people find you? What should they do to get into your world if they're the right people?
Yeah, come to Growclass. We're at growclass.co. We're Growclass on all social media platforms. And I'm SK Stockdale on all of the platforms not owned by Elon Musk. So come and hang out. And if you're interested in a little dose of political progressive feminism in your life, WNTTA.co is my newsletter. We need to talk about this.
Beautiful. Sarah, thank you so much for being here and for being so welcoming to a baby joining. This is unprecedented.
My favorite.
But I knew you would be okay with it. So I was like, we're doing it. Thank you, Sarah.
Every time. I'd prefer to hang with babies.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us for the conversation today. Check out the links below to learn more. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to rate it and leave a review. Thank you again for being here and have an awesome day.